Hi everyone, and welcome to another preview where we're going to have a look at tomorrow and Sunday's racing. Going to do things a little differently this week. Going to have a bit of a chat about a couple of hot topics as well, things that have been going on in the racing world over the last maybe week or so. And today I am joined firstly by the man who joins me regularly on these videos. Not a favourite of the jockeys and the trainers because he doesn't mind telling them what he thinks. But I've got Mark Mackay with me again. Hi Mark, how's it going?
I'm fine, thanks, Gary.
Good stuff. Good
Looking
stuff.
forward to this one.
Yeah, should be good. Got a good weekend's racing. And joining us for the first time today is a lad I've been in touch with via WhatsApp groups and stuff for a while. Fairly new to racing and looking to get into things a bit more and just have a good opinion and put some good tips out there. So it's Charlie Sharp. Hi Charlie, how's it going?
Hi Gary, yeah, not too bad, thank you.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. Okay, well, we'll get cracked straight on, and the first thing we are going to talk about is the hot topics. A few topics that we've picked out to have a little chat about before we get into the previews. As you can see from the bottom of your screen, this week we are going to talk about the Benny Didio situation, Nicky Henderson stable form. Is it a worry? And the fact that Cheltenham's going to be a little bit different this year. So we'll start with the Benny Didio situation. Obviously, we had Patrick Mullins on a show on, I think it was Tuesday, and he came out and was asked several times about the Benny Didio situation and what race she might run in. I didn't really let up at all that there was any problems there. For us all then as public to find out on Wednesday that she was withdrawn from the festival now seems pretty obvious that that problem was there before the withdrawal on Wednesday. What's your opinion on it, Mark? Should the likes of Patrick and whatever who are getting paid to go on the shows they're going on, should they be more transparent? Should the stables, should he have gone to Willie Mullins maybe and said, "Hey, listen, I'm on this show on Tuesday. If we're close to pulling her out of the festival, should we be open with them? Should I have the chance to be telling the truth?"
Yeah, they seem to have the excuse of we don't know how badly she was injured, but I don't buy it at all. The drift on Betfair was too big. The rumours were too rife. And it was quite clear that the injury was quite bad. And it'll be interesting to see if she goes to Punchestown, which I don't believe she will. I think the Yard are getting away with it too often now. This is the third time this season they've held an injury back on a Fernie Hollow and the Big Getaway as well. And yeah, it's hard to prove that a horse is injured and that they have held it back. That's a big problem for, people saying they should have told us earlier. It's hard for those people to actually know what's actually happened, but it's pretty clear to everybody that they have held this information back, and it's just pretty poor form. And I think more should be made of it in the racing press than is made of it, and racing pundits should speak out more about it, because if they don't, they'll continue to do it.
Yeah, it just gives them a license to do it, doesn't it? More and more. I mean, what's your thoughts on it, Charlie, as well? Like we all want transparency. People are out here gambling, aren't they? They're putting their hard-earned money on the line, and I think it's only right that they're straight and fair with us.
Yeah, I can only imagine the amount of money that probably went on Benny when Honeysuckle went and hacked up at Dublin Racing Festival, and they thought, "Oh, Benny must be a clear shout for the Mayor's Hurdle." Like, it's just you're right. It's not very fair. It's not very transparent. I just, after hearing the rumours circulating, and as Mark said, the exchanges just seem to go nuts. I'm just happy she's not critically injured or dead, because there were those rumours going around. Will we see her again? We don't know, because there were talks about her being retired at the end of this season. So we have we seen her last race? Maybe. But yeah, I just think there needs to be a bit more transparency. And when you looked at Mullins, they come out the next day. It's a bit blatant, really, isn't it? It's a shame to see.
Yeah, certainly is. Okay, leave that one there. Next one is on the Nicky Henderson form. Is it a worry? Something that I've sort of been considering for a couple of weeks now, and I think it started back with the Epatante getting beat, and Altior as well back then. Is his stable form a worry, Charlie? Because You know, I mean, he's still got a few weeks to turn it round until the festival, but his big guns, if you like, certainly don't seem to have been in the best of form. And he's not popping up with too many winners at all. We've just had the highly thought of LeCale's article come out and run poorly and has now been pulled out of the festival. What do you think?
Look, Nicky's a fantastic trainer. He's the second most successful trainer in Cheltenham Festival history with 62 winners. This season, I did a bit of digging. He has had 344 runners, 70 winners, and 72 places. Now, it's not bad, but I guess by Nicky Henderson's probably form and expectations, it's probably not great either. He's having a bit of a weird festival, it looks like, because you've got Shishkin, who, in my opinion, is a banker. And then, I know you won't agree with me, Gary, but then after that, you've got Epatton, Altior, and Champ. Champ we'll talk about in a bit later, but none of them are really favourites. So I think if you come out of Cheltenham and he's only had the one winner, then I'm not really sure he's expected to have 3 or 4 winners this year. Obviously, he would want more than that, but I have no doubt that he'll have the right horses firing in 4 weeks come Cheltenham.
Yeah, I think from his situation, if he thinks that Epatante is fully fit and there's nothing wrong in the yard or whatever, although she's not absolute red hot, you know, odds-on favourite. I know she's a touching joint favourite, but I think he will be expecting her to win still, and I think he'll be disappointed if she doesn't, put it that way. But I just think the way things are going at the minute, Mark, what's your view on the Nicky Henderson form?
I think he's slightly under his normal starts, and I did have the starts to hand that he was, you know, each month he was a little bit below what I'd expect. But I do see a few reasons maybe why that could be. Firstly, the really deep ground. He doesn't seem to have a lot of deep ground horses, so his horses won't be appreciating this heavy and very soft ground. And also, Toby Laws left his stables last year to run his own yard. And I think that may be having a knock-on effect on Nicky's yard, where his right-hand man for so many years isn't there anymore. And maybe, you know, what's going on in the yard isn't quite the 100% it was. It might only be 99.5%, where it was 100% before. I think that could be affecting it as well. But I would definitely look at Nicky's runners now. I mean, he had another one beaten today at Fakenham that a lot of people fancied as well. I think they are running slightly below par, but I think the very soft ground is also affecting the stable form.
Yeah, could well be, mate. Could well be. Okay, leave that one there. We'll move on to the final one. Obviously, a different Cheltenham. This is just one touching on from like a personal point of view. What you would normally be doing for Cheltenham and how you're going to find it under the current pandemic, if you like, where fans aren't allowed there. I personally have been down to Cheltenham. I think it's probably the last 7 or 8 years. I don't think I've missed one in that time. Absolutely love it. It's something that we all look forward to from the moment one festival ends, building up to the one the next year. Certainly going to be different, sat at home watching it. What would you normally be doing for the festival, Mark? Would you be there? How are you going to find it with no fans being down at the festival?
Yeah, it's you sort of can't believe you're not going, to be honest. From the first minute I went into Cheltenham, I knew I wanted to go every year. I couldn't when I worked at sea. I used to only be able to go every second year. But yeah, it's just something very special. And I'll never forget the year that I drove in past Jack Does Castle and then up over Bishop's Cleeve and then came down on the other side of the racecourse from the top. And you just get this 5-second glimpse of the course as you drive down. And it's just like your heart just starts thumping. And I can't believe I'm not going this year, Gary, to be honest. I think I'm like every other racing fan that no matter if you don't go racing very often in the season, the one race meeting you want to go to is Cheltenham. And it's going to be very different sitting at home. I did it last year because my mates didn't want to go. I found it really strange. And I said, I'm not going to do that again. But I am going to be doing it again. It's going to be a very strange experience sitting on my own, celebrating hopefully a couple of winners.
Yeah, certainly is going to be different. Yourself, Charlie, do you get down there? Have you been at the festival?
Yeah, I've my first Cheltenham Festival was last year. I went on Champion Chase Day. So my first two races I saw were Envoy Lens Ballymore and Champs RSA. So unreal start. And yeah, I just walked in and it was just like, I need to be here all the time. I was with a friend who didn't really, wasn't really that keen on horse racing. He kind of wanted to go for the day out more than anything. And he was so into it. That day I was on Manila Indo, he's on Allaho, and then we just see Champ coming, and both of us just switch. I was like, I don't care, Champ, that is something special, and oh man, it was amazing. So yeah, gutted I can't be there, but I'll be there next year and the years to come after it for sure.
I'm sure we will be. Yeah, it's certainly a absolute cracking time down there. It's totally different to any other race course that you go to. Me and my mates, having missed this year, we're planning all sorts already. We've got prices in for the Dublin Racing Festival next year. I think we've got a lot to make up for it. Okay, so they are our talking points for this week. We did have another one, which was going to be talking about what rides Davy Russell will be taking back off Jack Kennedy, but with recent news of him not getting fit, that's not a topic for discussion anymore. So we will move on to the previews for the weekend. Starting on Saturday, Ascot 150. Got the Reynoldstown Novices Chase, grade 2 over 3 miles. Mark, yourself?
Gary, I found this really difficult. I don't think it's a great Reynoldstown. I can't see any of them winning at Cheltenham. And I'll leave you guys to discuss it because I don't want to take up time on a race I didn't really like.
Yep, no problem. Charlie, yourself?
I fell on Remastered here. He's got good form on soft and heavy ground. The groundsman of Ascot said that it looks like it's going to be soft to heavy, if not heavy. I don't know if the rain's going to come. I think it actually held off today, so it might just be a bit soft. But yeah, Remastered, I fell on him. He's won his last two, so he's on a hat trick, and he doesn't look like he's going to the festival, so he doesn't really have like a handicap mark to hold on to. I would have been going for Severano, but I like his mark for the Browns advisory plate, and I'm on it at 25-1. So I want him to do a nice third or fourth, not really touch that mark. So Remastered at 5-1 is going to be my selection for the Reynoldstown.
No problem. Well, I will join you with that one. I fell down on Remastered as well. I think currently about 8-1 is the price, and simply because he's got the form this season on heavy ground, like you say, going for a hat trick of wins. And in what Mark, I agree with Mark on what he's just said there, it's a fairly poor renewal of this race, and he'll be my bet on Saturday, and I will have a little dabble at him at that price. Okay, we'll move straight on to the 3 o'clock, which is the just over 2 miles, handicap hurdle. Charlie, your selection in this one?
I've gone for Gladiator Alain at 6-1. He's only got 3 runs to his name, but the latest run was at Ascot, and he won by 7 lengths. He was running off over 11 stone that day, and tomorrow he'll be running off 10 stone 2 because Chester Williams will be taking off £5 from the jockey claim as well. I think he's low in the weights, but I think he's got enough in him to perform in this race. I would have been going for Arrivederci, but I've sided with Gladiator Alain on this one at 6-1.
Yeah, okay, mate. Just to reiterate, it's a 2.5 mile race, not just over 2 miles. So, Mark, yourself, selection here?
Yeah, I was, like I said, I was really keen on Malaya last night, and my confidence is waning a little bit on him. He's drifting quite markedly this afternoon from 9s to 11s, which I didn't expect. I actually thought he could get gambled today. He was second last year. He caught a right handicap plot on the day in Nordano. He was beaten 16 lengths, but I think Paul Nicholls targets this race meeting. I think Johnny De La Haye likes to have winners at this meeting, and I think he's been plotted up to win again. He's £2 lower than last year, and I really like this Malaya for this race, but I'm seriously worried about the drift, and he's not the nap anymore for the weekend after seeing the drift, but he'd still be my pick, but I am becoming worried by the drift on him.
Yeah. Okay. My selection, I've actually changed tune on this a couple of times over the last couple of days since starting to look into the races. But the one I've fallen on and that I think I'm going to give an each way chance to is Shannon Bridge for Dan Skelton, 16-1. Was pulled up over 3 mile on seasonal reappearance. Been back and watched his races back, even just earlier on today. He was then dropped back to 2.5 mile and was second at Wetherby, and he was conceding a stone to the winner that day. So it wasn't a bad run at all. And then he's come back at Wetherby again, actually over hurdles, and because one before that was over chases, and won comfortably. Really solid win, good jumping. Unlikely to come into much trouble over hurdles when he's a guy who can jump over fences, obviously. And yeah, I just think in a field where there was a few sort of little eye catchers, if you like, where I found positives in a few horses, to be honest, but that's the one that I've ended up falling on, and at 16-1 I think it's a nice little each way price. So we'll move on to the 335, the Betfair Ascot Chase, over 2.5 miles, grade 1. For me, this is probably about banker of the weekend. I wouldn't go as far as saying he's going to be my nap simply because of the price, but as far as the most likely winner, I think Surname will absolutely wallop this lot. I think it's his prime optimum trip, this 2 mile 5 on a track that he loves, and yeah, if he ended up, I don't know what price he is right now. I think yesterday he was about 4 to 5, wasn't he? Something around that. If he ended up anything above evens, I would probably have a go on him, because I think he'd be good value at that, to be honest. Because I do think he will win this. Mark, yourself?
I think Surname's the most likely winner, but I would not put a penny on any of these horses in this race. Surname could dog it. Master Tommy Tucker could get outpaced, could fall. Riders on the Storms lost his form. It's just a race full of horses that I wouldn't want to back, to be honest. But Surname, this is his conditions. This is where he excels. He should win this, but at 4 to 5, I would not part with a penny at that price.
Yeah. Okay, Charlie?
Yeah, agree with that. I think obviously he's the most likely winner. I think he was 4 to 5, 4 to 6. Well, it's just too short for a very disappointing run in the King George last time. I think I would have been going for Master Tommy Tucker in this one if Harry Cobden was on him. He seems quite a difficult ride, and Harry seemed to be able to be the one that was able to ride him last time out. But he's gone with Surname, so that's put me in a different frame of mind for this race. And with only 5 runners, I was looking at the running styles of all the horses, and all of them want to be either front running or just in behind, apart from Riders on the Storm. And I know he's not in form, but if he was to somehow come back to some form, with the heavy ground, you've got 4 horses that are all going to be tanking along. There's a chance they could all knacker themselves out. Riders on the Storm could just easily pass right at the end because he's just got all this energy saved. 18-1 he is each way. That will be my play for the race.
Okie dokie. All right then. We will move straight on. That's the last one we're covering at Ascot on Saturday. We will move on to Haydock and start with the 205, which is the Rendlesham Hurdle, Grade 2, over 3 miles and half a furlong. Come to you first, Mark, on this one.
Well, I thought I'd found one here, and I was quite excited about Third Wind at 14-1. I was getting ready to have a bet, and when I went to bet him, he was 7-1. So the bets got shoved in the bin pretty quick, because I don't think he's a 7-1 shot, but I don't think he was a 14-1 shot. I'm all about trying to get value, Gary. As you know, I think most people that watch the videos with us or on my own, I'm looking for value, and I thought Third Wind was value at 14-1. I don't really think he is at 7-1, and although he's my selection, I wouldn't tell anyone to back him at that price, because I don't think he's any value now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Charlie?
I'm going to take a risk on the runner Itchy Feet coming back over hurdles. He's been a bit disappointing this season over chasing. And it looks like he's going to go to the Stayers Hurdle. It's currently 25-1 for that. And I think if he wants to compete there, he really should be winning this. So that will be my selection. Itchy Feet at 5-2 at the moment.
Okay. Well, for myself, my one of my early selections in my anti-post portfolio, if you like, was Main Fact for the Stayers Hurdle. Was on a terrific winning streak before his last run, where he simply didn't get a run in. Now, the reason for that, David Piper's come out and said that he doesn't know. He can't put it down to anything. Whether it was just that he didn't like the track. I don't think he'd ran at Ascot before, but if he's going to be in the mix at the Stayers Hurdle, like you've just said about Itchy Feet there, I think it's the same with a few of them. That if they're going to be up there for the Stayers, they're going to have to put in a performance here. And like we always say about giving a horse a chance, I'm willing to forgive him that last run. He's back at a track where he put in a superb performance the time before on very similar ground, so there'll be no excuses for him. And I think he's a decent price. I won't be backing him each way. I'll be backing him to win, and I think he can come out and come late as he always does, and take the victory here and put himself back in the mix for the Stayers Hurdle. Or so I'm hoping for my anti-post portfolio anyway. So that's where I'll be on this one, and we've got a couple out for me this weekend out of the anti-post portfolio, and I could do with them running decent races. So yeah. Okay, we'll move on to the next one at Haydock, which is the 240 Grand National Trial, Grade 3 over 3 miles, well 3.5 miles. Charlie, start with you, mate.
I'm going to take another plunge on the Twitter horse of the Welsh Grand National, Lord Domain. He's very well backed, very well supported going into that Welsh Grand National. He just disappointed. I think he finished 9th. He's back at Haydock and he's got good form there. He's run twice. He's come first and second. And he's been, when the markets opened up, he was 20-1. He's now 9-1. I think they're expecting another performance better than Chepstow last time out. So Lord Domain at 9-1 is going to be my selection.
Okay, good stuff. I'll nip in with mine, Mark. Mine is, I'm going to put the Venetia Williams Achille up in this one, 10-1. Or was 10-1 last I looked. Was second on reappearance after a long break of about 420 odd days. Had a decent run into second over this distance, which was quite crucial. Coming back and running over such a slog after so long off and putting in a good performance. Venetia Williams and Charlie Deutsch both been in the winners a bit over the last week or so, and I think he can put in a good performance here. So he'll be my selection here. Yours, Mark?
I liked quite a few horses in this race, but I really was impressed with on card of Dr. Richard Newlands last time out. I thought when he won that race, I thought he had a lot in hand. He went up £8. I think he was value for a lot more than £8, and I think he's got a lot left in reserve of the handicapper myself. So although I like Sojourn, Lord Dominil and a couple of others, David Pipe's got a great record in this race, I think, but I really like on card in this, and I think he's been let off lightly by the handicapper after his Ascot win, so I'll go with him. I know he's only for 192, but I still think that's half decent price, and I'm going with him.
Yeah. Certainly down in the weights, mate, which is always good in these conditions over such a slog. Okay, we'll move on to the 314 as it is, which is the juvenile hurdle over 2 miles. Very, very small field here. I just think it's a straight up match between the top two. I think Nassalam's going to win it. I think Nassalam has to win this if he's going to go on and do things that they think he's going to at the festival. All right, Monreal's unbeaten today, but hasn't really beaten or raced, should I say, against the class that Nassalam has, who was obviously beaten by Adagio the last time. That form's working out all right, and I think he'll take the win here. So my play on this will probably be a straight forecast between them two. Yours, Mark?
I wouldn't really touch this race. This is just a watching race for Cheltenham, really. Can Nassalam win this race and boost his claims for Cheltenham, but prices, and I'm not really a big fan of Haydock, if I'm honest. It's a bit of a swamp, so I'll just be watching this race. But I would think Nasalam needs to win to boost his Cheltenham claims.
Yeah. You're right, Charlie.
I'm just going to copy and paste what you said, Gary. I completely agree with you. I think the form behind Monmoral isn't as strong as the form that Nasalam has over Adagio. And I'm on Nasalam at I think it was 25-1. So I'm hoping he can put in a big performance and really put himself right in the mixture of that triumph. It's looking like quite a good race, actually. Nasalam is 10-11 last I looked. So that is going to be my pick for this one.
Yeah, okay. That's where we will leave Haydock. There's just one other race for us to talk about on Saturday, and that is the 3:18 at Wincanton, where we've got the Betway Kingwell Hurdle over 2 miles. Another one, I said earlier on, a couple of my anti-post selections were out. Another one I put fairly early this season. I really fancy Goshen to go on and be a champion hurdle contender. They've obviously had a couple of issues with him, with his heart problem that hopefully they've fixed. We've seen with the return of Paisley Park that those issues, I know it's happened with other horses as well, but most recently Paisley Park, that issue can be overcome and they get the horse back to being on top form. And I'm hoping they can do that with Goshen here, because I think there's a absolute top horse in there somewhere, and if he is back to being his best, I mean, you've just got to look at what a couple behind him in the Triumph last year have come on to do, and they're right up there as contenders in some of their divisions, and he was going to absolutely wipe the floor with them if not for a freak accident at the last. So if they've got him back to anywhere near his best, I can see him coming through winning here, and I will be giving him a chance. And yeah, it's a little bit of a risk, I understand that, but I think that's why he's the price he is. Otherwise, I think he'd be red hot favourite here, and I'll be backing him. Charlie, yourself?
I would do anything to see Goshen win today. It's been so disappointing every run, and as you said, you got the heart problem that occurred last time out. I don't know if I can take the leap. I think he was 4-1. I think he was maybe worth it, but I think he's coming to 9-4 now. I think he's a bit short. I would love to see him win, but I'm actually really keen on Song for Someone. I saw him run at Fontwell in November 2019, and he won a handicap hurdle by 12 lengths, and I just was like, I'm going to have to keep an eye on him. And he keeps performing and he keeps winning races, and he's put himself in a champion hurdle contention. I think he's 20-1, but it looks like he's going there. I think if Goshen really is a champion hurdle contender, he has to win this and win this well.
Yeah,
I really hope Jamie Moore just lets him get on with his race, because in the at Cheltenham last time out, he was just pulling his way through the race, and actually he got to the front and then he faded out. And I think when you look at how hard he was pulling, I think he's entitled to fade out, especially. I just want Jamie Moore to let him go, do his thing out in front, and hopefully he just absolutely wipes the floor with everyone, and he becomes a champion hurdle contender, and that could be the best champion hurdle win, in my opinion. It's just the comeback in a short spell of Goshen would just be absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Head says Song for Someone, heart says Goshen. I can't pick between the two. I will watch it and hopefully have a smile on my face at the end of the
race. Yeah. Mark?
I wouldn't be having a bet in this race, but if I did have a bet in this race, I might go for Narwhal Pass, because I think Goshen's going to blow out again, and I'm not a big fan.
Don't do that to me, Mark. Don't do that to me.
So I would go with him, because, actually, he's been given no credit for his win at Haydock when he beat Bouvidere and Ballyardy, but actually it's not a bad run when you look at it. I just wonder if Ballyardy's stable was under a cloud at the time, but still he beat Bouvidere. I know that they gave him a little bit of rope, but he's no mag. He's not a mag, and he's improving this season, and his form's really in for his stable's really in for him. I would give him a chance, but don't get me wrong, I wouldn't be putting money on him, but I think he's got a chance in this.
Okay. Mark's that confident, he's putting no money on him.
I don't put money on any.
I know, mate, I'm just winding you. Okay, so that is where we will leave Saturday. Moving straight on to Sunday. Couple of what are normally hot renewals, maybe not living up to the past renewals of the race, so we'll go through them anyway, and we'll start at Newbury, where we've got the 225 Betfair Denman Chase, the Grade 2, over 2 miles 7, well, just under the 3 mile distance. Mark, I'll start with you on this one. You can kick us off.
It's just a disappointing race, isn't it, really? I mean, I'd love to see Lost in Translation come back, but then there'll be lots of people waiting for Clan des Obeaux to come back, and really it's just a race where it's not a betting proposition because you don't know which one of these could actually run a race. I'd personally like to see Lost in Translation come back. He's had a wind operation. Hopefully he can run a decent race. He's looked like a good horse. I really like the Tizard camp, but they've had such an awful season. I'd like to see their star come back, but really there's no bet in this for me.
Yeah. Should this be the race that Champ is running in?
I don't know. I think they've got his preparation so badly wrong that I don't think it matters what he runs in now. I can't see him winning a Gold Cup off this preparation, whether he went here or if he goes in Game Spirit. I can't see him. I can't see this preparation winning a Gold Cup off one race like this.
Yeah,
not as a novice. I mean, Album Photo can do it as he's done it, but as a novice, I think this is a extremely strange preparation, whichever race he would have gone for.
Yeah. Okay. Charlie, your selection in the race, mate. What's your thoughts on it?
It's Cliff Horse time. It's Last Chance Saloon, Lost in Translation. As Mark said, he's had the wind up. I've watched back that Gold Cup from last year, and I was on Album Photo, and there was just something in me that just went, he's going to get beat here by Lost in Translation. And it's just been so disappointing, his runs after that. I would love to see him come back. This is his final chance, in my opinion. I'm going against Clan des Obeaux because I don't think he wins enough races that he should win. He's always in good races, but whenever he is favourite, it's rare to see him actually win it. So I'm hoping it happens again. Clan des Obeaux beaten favourite and Lost in Translation can come back to some kind of form. So 7-2, Lost in Translation, final chance.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair enough, mate. We all have our cliff horses that we get hooked on, and that's how it is. Joe, I'm looking through this again today, and it's one of them where Clan des Obeaux should, if Lost in Translation fires like he has of late, Clan des Obeaux should be winning this. But being someone who tries to find a bit of value now and again, you go through the others, and if Lost in Translation doesn't fire, I can't see Kalashnikov being anywhere near. I don't like Secret Investor. Which race is Dashel Drasher going to be in? Because he's got 2 entries, I think, at the minute, hasn't he? The Conditional, is a horse. I can't make my mind up what they're thinking with him. They seem to be entering him in massive races, but I just don't think he's got that potential. And Sapage isn't a horse I'm massively interested in. So today I was actually thinking to myself, returning off a massively long absence, I might just bet Terrafort to place, just back him each way, because the rest of the race I just think is, like I say, like you said, you hit the nail on the head with Clan des Obeaux, that he doesn't win enough. There's races he runs in that he should be winning and he doesn't. So I might just back Terrafort each way, and God, with him being off the track for, I don't know how long it is now, but it's a hell of a long time, that if they've got him fit, he might come in, because his form, going back to when he was running regular, his form's not bad. It'd be up there, certainly looking at a place in this, but he's priced according to the fact that he's been off for so long. So I'll probably just have a very small bet, just because when I'm sat watching Saturday racing, I tend to have little bets on most of the races I'm watching. It's nothing in my major fancies, but I'd probably just have a little bet on Terrafort each way, probably for him to run out of steam with about 3 to go and come pulled up, but never mind. Okay, we will move on to our next race, the 3 o'clock. which is the Betfair Game Spirit Chase, Grade 2 over 2 mile, and the surprise entry of Champ, which probably took everybody by surprise, and I really can't make my mind up in this race. God knows what's going to happen with Champ in this. I understand both sides of the coin, to be honest. You look at his jumping and you would think, why enter him in a race that's going to... where his jumping is going to be in the spotlight. You know, he's going to have to jump swift, he's going to have to jump good to be in with a chance of winning this, and it has been his downfall over time. But at the same time, stuck in a race where he's probably running kind of flat out and doesn't really have time to think about things. It could help him that he doesn't have time to think about it and he's just getting on with it and doing it. And I don't really know where to go with Champ in this. It's certainly not a bet from my point of view, because you don't know what you're getting. You're playing guesswork by backing him, and so I would have to leave him. And I basically took this with a view to him not even being in the race. And if he comes up and wins, he comes up and wins. You couldn't really predict it as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, we've got another fairly small runner field. I think we've got 6, haven't we, runners in this one. I'm going to have a little dabble on Fanny and Destravel. Decent form this season. Not a lot in this race. Bit similar to the last race. Not a lot in this race took my fancy. This was the one that I ended up falling on. Was 4th behind First Floor in the Clarence House Chase. 4th, but only a length behind Politlog in 2nd. So I was right in the mix with some decent sorts in that race. And I think that form would probably be good enough, barring what Champ does. I think that form would be good enough to beat the rest of this field. So I'm going to have a little dabble on that one on Sunday, and that's where my bet will be. Charlie, yourself?
I fell on So Royale 10-3. I did the same as you. I looked at it and just thought, oh, Champ's not going to be running here. And I think even now he is. I think when the market opened up, he was 2-1, and now he's gone out to 7-2. It baffles me, but I was watching Road to Cheltenham, and actually Ruby Walsh said they thought it was good. There was a good prep for him. So I don't know. I'd probably trust Ruby Walsh's opinion over mine. But yeah, I think So Royale has... He fell last time out, but I'm willing to forgive that. I think he's got the speed to win this race. And going against my selection in the first race for Remastered, I'll be praying the rain doesn't come for So Royale, because he's much better on good soft or soft ground rather than heavy ground. Greener Team for me, top of the market. I didn't think he'd suit Haydock. He seems to perform well over undulating tracks. Oh, sorry, not Haydock, Newbury. He seems to perform over undulating tracks, and Newbury is a flat track. So, yeah, So Royale will be my pick at 10-3.
Okay. Yourself, Mark?
I think Champ might just actually go out here and have a schooling session. If they try and go at 2 mile pace for him, the way he walked through that fence in the Dipper last season, he could put himself at serious risk. I think he might just be out for the run. I know that's not what you're supposed to do, but I think it could be what's going on. I think he could go out here, just go out for the schooling session, and if he gets anywhere close to them, they'll be delighted. For me, I think Green Routine's the most likely winner, because Sorel won't like the ground very much. Although, if it is a little bit faster than it looks like it'll be, then Sorel would have been the pick. But I think Green Routine's he's one that Exeter over a bit further this season already, and I think I'd just about favour him. But the price is going to contract, I think, because Champ's going to go right out, because I think most people won't fancy him. And that'll bring the others in price. So I wouldn't back Green Routine, but I think he's the most likely winner.
There you go. Okay, mate. That's the Game Spirit Chase done, and we'll move on to the 335, which is the Betfair Hurdle, a Grade 3 over 2 miles. Interesting race for a lot, I would think, here in terms of Cheltenham. One of the races over the weekend that's probably going to give people clues more than a lot of the other races. Start with you, Charlie. Your selection in this one, mate?
I am going to go for Mr. Coffee at 10-1 each way, and this is actually my nap of the weekend. Is Mr. Coffee 10-1 each way? I can't see him not being in the places, especially in such a massive field. You can get 6 and 7 places somewhere, and I just cannot see him being out of that. He's had 5 runs. First, second, third. Not in order. Just that's his figures. He was a bit disappointing last time out. He received quite a lot of backing and he ended up coming third. I think he's entitled to 1 bad run after 4 good runs. And I think he's handicapped quite nicely for this. He's got a rating of 138. The last 4 winners of this were 141, 141, 137 and 135. So he seems to be right in the middle of that. He's got good form over Newbury as well. He's won there in a 17-runner field, so he's got big race experience with lots of runners at the same track. So for me, it seems to all line up. So Mr. Coffee 10-1 each way will be my play.
Okay, mate. Very good. Strong fancy there for Charlie. Yourself, Mark?
I have 3 on my list, and I don't know which way to go on the race at all. I thought Soaring Glory was really well handicapped on some of his form earlier in the season when he was when he beat Braveman's Game, although it was Braveman's Game's first outing of the season. Then he was second to Dusart and third to My Drogo. All very strong form, I thought. And he's not got a high weight for that sort of form. I think he's the most solid of the ones of the 3 I've got. Cardsand, I really worry. I thought he was an absolute banker for the county hurdle to be right in the mix. But I worry about the ground in this race for him. He could get bogged down in this, whereas I had him down as my county hurdle horse. I really fancied him for that off the weight he's off. But this could bottom him, so they're going to have to try, because running in this race 3 weeks before Cheltenham's, I can't see him winning the county hurdle now, unless he goes just for a job ground. And the other one I had was Baz, actually. I thought he had a good chance as well. I think if you pin me down, I'd probably go with Baz now. Kevin Brogan taking £5 off. We were totally against him at Ascot that day. When he came second, we were saying we were going to lay him. He was such a poor price, and he nearly came and won that race, but Not So Sleepy held him off. But Not So Sleepy's a half-decent horse from the front when he goes out and does it. And I think I just about backed Baz with the £5 off with a good claimer.
Mm-hmm. That's fair enough, mate. Yeah, no problem. So buzz for Mark. A horse I'm fairly keen. I was, like yourself, Mark, I had a little bit of a shortlist in this race. More of a shortlist of keeping an eye on ones for Cheltenham. Cardsand is one of them. I totally agree with what you're saying in terms of his mark. If he could blow himself right out of the water for Cheltenham. So whether they're not bothered about that, and just want to go out and win a race with him, I don't know. But I'll certainly be keeping an eye on how he runs. But I won't be backing him. Other ones, Charlie's Mr. Coffee was on my short list. Sky Pirate and Milkwood are all ones I'm keeping an eye on in terms of Cheltenham. The one I'm going to back that I think needs to run a good race, based on what connections want to do with him here, is now 16-1 in from 20-1 is For Pleasure. Alex Hales' runner here is entered in the Supreme, and I think if they think he's that good, that he's going to have to run a cracking race here. He's got some cracking form to his name. He's a front runner. He likes to get out in front and just sort of play catch me if you can. His last few races, he's got like a good 10-15 length lead early on. And I did nearly put him up about a week or so ago for as my Supreme horse, because I do think he's a cracking horse, especially going left-handed. And I just worry in terms of the Supreme about a front runner. A horse that gets way out in front like that, I'm going to go back and look at it a bit more in detail, but off the top of my head I don't remember anything in recent times winning a Supreme doing that. But he's a very good horse, and in his career, he's only been in his hurdling career, he's only been beaten twice, and both of them were going right-handed. And if you watch him, he does jump quite markedly to his left, and that absolutely ruined his race on both those occasions. So you can sort of put them to one side. Now he's back left-handed. Say it was Kempton and Market Raisin he was beaten at. And I think he can put in another solid performance here from the front. So at 16-1, I'll probably I'll play it each way just because he's 16-1, but I actually think he's capable of winning this, and that will be my selection. Okay, so we've got one more race to cover, and that is over at Navan. I'll just bring up my notes because I haven't changed them. Where we've got the 247 Boyne Hurdle, over 2.5 miles. Mark, yourself, we'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a selection, but this is an interesting race with Cheltenham in mind.
Yeah.
I think Fury Road has to try and win this to book his place to Cheltenham. I know that everyone's putting him up as a big outsider for the Stayers Hurdle, but I think he would need to win this now to be right in the Stayers Hurdle mix. If he doesn't win this, then I would say he's going to struggle to win a Stayers. Although last year he was third in the Albert Bartlett, and he ran a really good race, and he was a bit unlucky to be out on the wing coming up the straight as well. But if he's going to justify being in the mix and shorter than 10-1, probably if he wins this for the Stayers Hurdle, he'll need to win quite well at Navan. So it's a very interesting race. And I think there's a few horses in here to watch, not just for Cheltenham, but for Aintree as well. Of course, Tiger Roll. But I think other ones are going to be maybe handicap horses that are going to be in behind here, that are going to be running in the Coral Cup and things like that.
Yeah. So not a betting race for you, Matt, you say, but you pick
no.
Do you think Fury Road's the likely winner though? Is that what we're?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think he is. If he's going to justify being in the Stayers Hurdle, he's got to win this.
Yeah. I'm down that route as well. As you know, when Main Fact ran his stinker last time at Ascot, I wrote him off as just being not good enough in open company. It was only when a couple of weeks later, and I heard David Pipe talking and he said he does actually think he's better than that I actually maybe thought that bet's not actually down the drain like I thought it was. But by this time, I'd already replaced him in my bets with Fury Road. So I've got both of my Stayers Hurdle picks running over the weekend. So if both of them run stinkers, I'm looking pretty dull. So I need one of them at least to run a blinder. Now this is over a slightly shorter trip for Fury Road, 2.5 miles. But I think I'm expecting him to come out and win. I thought he was a massive price at 20-1 when I backed him for the Stayers. I think he's coming a little bit from that, but you maybe still can get 20s in places even. But I think he's a good price. I do think he's a big, lively outsider based on his form over beating Time Hill in the Albert Bartlett. He came fourth in the Christmas Hurdle behind Flooring Porter at a track that he's never done any good at. He's had about 4 runs at Leopardstown, and they're his worst form in his career. So I think he actually did well to come fourth there. It was a good run for him on a track that he doesn't like. And I think he'll come out here and I think he'll beat this lot and stick his name into the mix for what is a very, very hot Stayers Hurdle, probably the most lively lineup in the of the whole festival for me. It's such a deep race, that one, and I think he'll throw his hat into the mix here. Charlie?
I was really in the camp of Ronald Pump for this race until he didn't end up being declared. I agree that Fury Road is probably the most likely winner. He really needs to put in a performance for me to be in the Stayers market kind of contention. But this race just reminded me of the time that I saw one of my favourite horses, Tiger Roll, right behind me. He won this race at 25-1 2 years ago, and I was absolutely devastated that I wasn't on it. And I just think I'll be having more of a bet to make sure that doesn't happen again. He's 10-1, not 25, but I would be going for Tiger Roll each way, but I just want to see him get round and get ready for the cross country. And we don't know if he's going to the national Grand National either. But yeah, 10-1, Tiger Roll each way.
Okay, yeah. I had a mate or two who aren't massively into racing but just follow popular horses, sending me 33-1 slips when he'd won, and me just shaking my head thinking, how did that go under the radar? It was just, it was a proper naughty one that everybody missed, wasn't it? Okay, well, I think that's us done, isn't it, in terms of all the races for the weekend. Is there any other fancies, Mark, that in races that we've not mentioned? Have you got anything?
No,
you, Charlie?
Nothing for me, Gary, no.
I've just got a small one for Minella Drama in the Sydney Banks, which is 2:05 at Market Raising on Sunday. That's one I'll be putting up on my Twitter, but yeah, that's the only additional one.
Okay. All right, we'll get a best bet of the weekend off you both. Then we'll stick them up. Mark, come to you first. Then, what's your best bet or two of the weekend? Give us two if you want. It's up to you.
No, just the one. I'll give you a 240 at the Swan, paid up on card.
Okay.
Doctor.
Yeah, Charlie.
It will be. Pardon me. It will be Mr. Coffee, Betfair Hurdle, 10-1 each way. There are places galore, 6 and 7. Take them if you think it's necessary. But 10-1 Mr. Coffee, I can't see him not placing here.
Okie dokie. And I'm going to take my best bet in the Betfair Hurdle, the For Pleasure. I think he's going to be a good thing there. And at 16-1, I'll take it each way, but I think he's more than capable of winning that race. Okay, guys, thanks very much for joining us today. Been good having you on for the first time, Charlie. Hope you'll join us again sometime. So we will catch up with you both soon. I'm sure I'll be messaging you both over the weekend on how our selections have done and whether we're embarrassing ourselves or looking all right. We'll have some discussions, I'm sure. All right, I'll catch up with you both soon. Cheers, lads.
Thanks very much, Gary.
Cheers, Gary. Thanks for having me.
Cheers.